code readers, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the recipes for everything we need is right here on our DNA. So this is a chromosome. There's a promoter section, terminator, and this is the recipe or code for a protein. Now, proteins are made of amino acids, and there's 9 different essential amino acids. That means we have to eat these. There's 20 total amino acids, but some of these we make on our own. Now, we don't just consume a protein powder and it goes straight to the muscles, like some people think that. And a protein powder might contain 80 grams. Okay, that's an overkill. Because in a whole day, a woman might need 46 and might need 56, right, depending on what they do. Okay, I mentioned amino acids. They are stored in our skeletal muscles. Think of the muscles of our body as being a reservoir. And so when we need amino acids, let's say the brain, kidneys, of course the muscles, liver, it's not just about looking good in the mirror. We need amino acids to maintain our health, our body. If blood sugar or the glucose drops, we have to convert glucose from amino acids, gluconeogenesis, which is not a good thing. I'm going to talk about that. We don't want to use proteins for energy. No, too toxic. All right, and think of the digestive tract. Okay, it has such a rapid mitosis of the cells that it needs almost a constant supply of amino acids. DNA needs it as well. And our needs vary, because if you're doing intensive workouts, fighting infection or cancer, or you have some traumatic accident, okay, you're going to have a high demand for amino acids. If the demand is too high, you might suffer from decreased muscle mass, known as sarcopenia. All right, and sarcopenia, or reduced muscle mass, and here's an example, okay. There is sarcopenia. It can hinder us from recovering from disease, especially in the elderly population, geriatric. Sometimes people say, why is mom or grandma still have cancer going on? Or how come grandpa is still fighting pneumonia after 4 months? Sarcopenia can be the hidden cause of disease and death. Because, as I mentioned, amino acids are needed all over the body. And it's hard to recover from disease when you are suffering sarcopenia. Now, if you're obese and you have sarcopenia, then that's not a good combination. And it can lead to disease and shortened life. Right? Well, muscles are constantly breaking down, and we have all these other organs that require amino acids. And so protein synthesis is a big process goes on in our body day and night. Now, if you do an intensive workout, you have about 2 hours, roughly. Some say 1 to 3 hours. After that workout, you need to consume some protein. I'm not talking about a huge scoop. I'm talking about a handful of nuts or something to get the amino acid level back, and so you're not pulling it away from muscles. Now, a lot of advertisers are going to tell you to go overboard, but it doesn't take much. Hypertrophy is what we want. That's when the muscle is going to expand, and postprandial is our mealtime. Mealtime after workouts are important, because if you do a heavy workout and you're not eating sufficiently or sleeping enough, then we have atrophy, and that's when we're actually pulling. Here's a good diagram. This is what we want: amino acids, protein synthesis. Yes. What we don't want is atrophy, muscles giving up their precious amino acids so that we can function. No, let's not have that. I mentioned timing, okay, within 2 hours. That's important. And different amino acids have a different signaling capability. We call this intracellular signaling. Now, leucine is one, but there's others. And what happens is the signaling begins the process of producing proteins. Now, during a workout, we're losing energy, ATP energy. We're also losing amino acids. So this can't go on, all right? If it goes on, then we're going to atrophy our muscles. Okay, let's get to this code reading, because remember I told you that's what this story's about? Okay, the muscles, I just want to create this storyline. It's about muscles and protein synthesis. Okay, in the nucleus of our cells, okay, is our DNA. I mentioned this. And there's this polymerase enzyme that is going to unzip the DNA. This sounds scary because, man, that's our code. Why are you unzipping this? We're unzipping it so we can read it because we want to copy this recipe and release the recipe so we can make the protein our body needs. Yeah. So the promoter and a terminator section. That's kind of like the first part of the recipe and the end of the recipe. Double-stranded helix is the DNA. And what we have here is the messenger. All right, because see, we can't read the code while it's in the nucleus. We have to read the code and really copy it. It's called transcription. And we have to export it so the main chef out here can read it. It has to do with safety, man. We don't want things going into our nucleus. All right, so the second stage is translation, because we have the code or the recipe, and now mRNA, yeah, let's see what's going on here. And mRNA is going to read the code. And it does this in a very specific way, a ribosome. All right, this ribosome is going to slide along the mRNA. Now, I don't want to lose you guys, because these are a lot of technical words. Well, let's take a look. Okay, a nice little review going on here. In the cell. Okay, get this stuff out of the way here. Come on. Here's the nucleus that I've been talking. In the nucleus, we should see our DNA. Or chromosome, yeah, there's a chromosome. Chromosome made of DNA. And so if we look real closely, yeah, that stuff I don't care about right now. Let's get to the terminator. Okay, here's the doubled helix of our DNA. And this is where the recipes are. Yeah. There is that polymerase. All right? RNA polymerase. Its job is to unzip. And look, you're going to see this is the code or recipe. And there's the mRNA. mRNA is reading the code. It's a recipe, right? Okay, I want to make some muscle protein, man. How do I do that? Here's how you do it, dude. Here's the recipe, dude. This is what you need, the muscle protein. Messenger RNA. Okay, now we got to export this thing because the chef can't come into nucleus, right? We got to take the recipe out of the nucleus, come on, and take it to the chef, which is called the ribosome. Okay, it's a long journey, but come on, there's a ribosome, yeah. Now, because the ribosome is going to take these, and this is why you eat, by the way, you eat protein after your workout, so that the transfer RNA has amino acids, right? And it's going to just carry it. There's a transfer RNA. Its job is like carrying the groceries, right? It's going to carry it to the recipe. And watch this, man. It's cool because a ribosome is lining up these RNAs so that these are amino acids, and we're making a protein. Okay. Now it could be something like muscle protein, or it could be hemoglobin. Right? It depends on what your body needs. So you could eat protein powder, and it ends up making hemoglobin in your bloodstream. Yeah. Or what about excess proteins? Not a good idea, because protein, okay, it can be used for energy, but if it builds up, we get nitrogen, which, I mean, the liver tries to convert it into urea, which is less harmful, but it can't do it fast enough. Like if you take a giant scoop of protein powder, oh my gosh, the kidneys are going, I don't know what to do with this. And so they end up suffering sometimes because you get hyperammonemia, and you also get hyper amounts of amino acids, and all this is going to cause dehydration. And then the kidneys, they're trying to flush this stuff out. Excessive ammonia and amino acids can cause internal kidney pressure. And so I like the kidneys. Here's a glomerulus. So this is a key part of the kidneys. There's about 1 million nephrons when we're young, but gradually we blow them out. I like this diagram. Okay. So it's this intraglomerular pressure. Okay. Intra means inside. So inside this glomerulus of the kidney, the pressure is building up, and we're going to lose kidney function. And I see this a lot in health care. A patient's chart will say CKD, and I know right away chronic kidney disease. Kenneth Wheeler, sometimes called Flex Wheeler, at age 37, he had to retire from bodybuilding. Many other professional athletes, you don't hear about it, but they retire and then they're no longer famous, and then they end up in a hospital with kidney disease. And we know why. We don't need big scoops of protein powder after workouts. It's often best to get it from your diet, because your body can only use so much. And now we know how it does it. Thanks for listening.